The Philadelphia Eagles are 8-0, and the haters are everywhere. Why I think that's a great thing. All that and more coming up next.
The following announcement has been paid for by
The ENN Podcast.
He has a good energy, you guys.
Can you feel
Sport.
that excitement? And also,
The merchandise, wearing the hats.
Is what I'm seeing for real?
Wild here live from Lincoln Financial.
I can't wait till this video is over so I can say his name anymore.
Music.
Again, and I hate to do this again, but these are goofy.
What the hell? What is it? Whoa! What the hell?
And more.
What's his next book gonna be called? Got you, sucker! I did not see that coming.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the ENN Podcast. I'm professional wrestler Chris Wild, live from bar 4133. The last time that I was on this channel, the Philadelphia Eagles were 6-0. Now, since then, they won 2 games. A game on Sunday, not this Sunday, but last Sunday against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then just 4 days later, had to fly to Houston to face the Houston Texans. As expected, the Eagles won both those games. I'm going to briefly talk about both of them. First off, against the Pittsburgh Steelers at home, place was electric. And before I get into anything, let me give a big shout out to those Philadelphia Phillies who did not win the World Series. But man, what an absolute fun ride that was. We're used to sitting in September and not even thinking about the Phillies. But man, the craziness that went on at Citizens Bank Ballpark was amazing. And it's a season I'll never forget. I still wish they would have done it. Still pissed off they didn't. But man, what a season. Now, again, Philly's craziness was still going on when the Eagles faced the Steelers. And the Philadelphia Eagles made light work of those Pittsburgh Steelers, absolutely throwing around Kenny Pickett all day, making him look like a rookie. A.J. Brown, 3 touchdowns. Reminds me more and more of Terrell Owens as each game goes by. Jalen Hurts continued to look like an MVP, and the Philadelphia Eagles cruised through that game. Now, going into the Houston game, this game scared me, not because of the Houston Texans. I mean, they're 5-1, but because of the rest. 4 days rest, you got to fly to Houston. It takes, and it's hard for somebody, like I've never played professional football. I am an athlete, and I know what it takes to get your body ready for an athletic event. Now, they're on an elite level that most of us will never, ever know what it's like to play the level that they do. I can't imagine going through one game that's like putting your body through a car wreck and then trying to get it ready 4 days later. I think the Thursday night games are a travesty. I think they're stupid. A lot of the games are bad, even if it's 2 good teams playing. The games are bad because it's just you're making these guys do things with their body that are dangerous. And in a league that, is heavy on safety when it comes to concussions and concussion protocol, I think they're really overlooking. Now, it's great for us fans. We love to watch football. We watch it every day of the week. But the Thursday night games are just a bad idea. Now, with that being said, the Houston Texans, it wasn't a bad idea for them to play because they ran right down the field that first drive against the Eagles. Embarrassing. The defense, it was like they weren't there, like they didn't get off the plane. No tackling, and that continued through pretty much the rest of the game, even though Javon Hargrave had 3 huge sacks, and the defense did start getting to Davis Mills as time went on. James Bradbury with a big interception at the end, and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson leads the NFL with 5 interceptions. This guy has come in, again, has some really questionable tackling skills, but man, this guy's come in and made a defense. That doesn't work. Made a difference in this secondary, man. He's really awesome. The trash talking, you can't not love this guy. Jalen Hurts goes home to Houston. Again, the whole team just didn't feel right. I didn't have a good feeling going through the game. Eventually, he connects with A.J. Brown. That was 4 touchdowns in 5 days? Throws another touchdown to Dallas Goedert, who's one of the most underrated tight ends, I think, in the game. And Miles Sanders is quietly having one of the best seasons that he's ever had. He's one of the top running backs right now, which is probably why the Eagles did not trade for a running back. So that's 2 wins in 5 days. The Eagles are now 8-0, still the only undefeated team in the NFL. And of course, the haters are going to come out. Most of them are in the national media, whether they've covered the Cowboys or the Giants or some NFC team. They hate on the Eagles because of something the Eagles can't control, and that's the schedule. You guys haven't played anybody. It's such an easy schedule because it's so easy to win, right? It's so easy to win a game in the NFL. No, it's not. I think the argument about the Eagles' schedule is ridiculous. I mean, let's face it. The whole they haven't played anybody thing. The Minnesota Vikings look like one of the top teams in the league right now. They're 7-1, and their only loss comes to the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, the excuse there is, well, it's Kirk Cousins in prime time. Are you kidding me? Is that really where we're going? That Kirk Cousins, because it was a prime time game, that doesn't count. It's just mind-numbing to me. I really hope none of the playoff games, for the Vikings fans' sake, are in prime time, because I guess you might as well chalk that down as an L. And then the Cowboys, when they beat them, they didn't have Dak. Look, go back to week 1 and watch how Dak Prescott played against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who, if you look at their record and now the records and who we're playing mean so much, they're not very good. Dak Prescott was horrible, so much that when he got hurt, Cowboys fans, because this was in Dallas, Cowboys fans were throwing stuff at him as he's going through the tunnel. Cooper Rush comes in, plays pretty much perfect football, doesn't make any mistakes. It's not like he's throwing for 1,000,000 yards either, but he does what he needs to do. And I'm hearing Cowboy fans about how, man, this guy is the second coming. We trust in Rush. I mean, you can't make it up. And then he faces the Eagles secondary and gets exposed, and his ass is now on the bench. But my thing there isn't with the Cowboys offense, because the last I know, Cooper Rush does not play defense. The Philadelphia Eagles, at the end of that football game, went on an 8-minute drive that they ran the ball down. It might have been more than 8 minutes. I think it might have been 11. Or they drove the ball down the Dallas Cowboys defense's throat, a defense with possible defensive MVP Micah Parsons, who's a Phillies fan too, by the way. I think he's a closet Eagles fan. But the whole thing about Dallas is how good their defense is, and the Eagles did what they wanted to. But again, we're not going to hear that. All we're going to hear is they didn't have Dak. Wait till Christmas Eve. You just wait till Christmas Eve, and Dak Prescott comes through again for the Dallas Cowboys. Like the Eagles' defense isn't good, or like this Eagles 8-0 is just some kind of mirage. I don't think so. I think the Eagles have been dominant in most of the games. My one thing I will say, their run defense is looking a little shaky since Jordan Davis was taken out. We will have him back for the games against the Giants and the Cowboys. But if there's one thing I could say, it would be that. They've dominated all the teams at points, won by double digits for most of the games. They get a little lazy at the end of games where they let teams come back. I think that's more a coaching issue. But other than that, I mean, the Eagles have done what they've needed to do. They've beaten these bad teams. Now, other teams that are ranked at the top, like the Bills and like the Chiefs, have lost against teams that are inferior to them. I just saw the Buffalo Bills and MVP candidate Josh Allen lose to the New York Jets, who have a great defense, but Josh Allen basically handed them the game by throwing 3 horrible interceptions. And I remember a couple weeks ago that the Kansas City Chiefs lost to the Indianapolis Colts, who just fired their head coach. You can't make this stuff up. However, it's that the Eagles haven't played anybody. Well, you put together a juggernaut schedule for the Eagles to win, and I guess that only then it'll mean something. I mean, let's give them the Chiefs, the Bills, Dallas with Dak. Let's give them the 85 Bears. Let's give them the 2017 New England Patriots. I mean, let's just put it all in there. Let's create a game of Madden, and maybe the 8-0 will mean something. I've even heard something silly as like comparing them to that 11-0 Chargers team from years ago. Not Chargers, I'm sorry. Chargers 11-0. The Steelers team from years ago that had an aging Ben Roethlisberger, and it just, you can't even, there's no similarities between the two teams. That rant needed that. I've been holding that in for what's now a couple weeks, guys. It has been a busy, busy month for me. It still continues. A lot of great stuff happening in my wrestling career. The Philadelphia Eagles are 8-0. Jalen Hurts is, I think, the MVP of the league thus far if you were to end it today. But you don't end it today. Next up, the Washington Commanders on a Monday night. Another scary game for me. Has trap game written all over it. Because I think the Commanders with Tyler Heineke are better than the Commanders with Carson Wentz that they faced earlier in the year. We'll see if the Eagles can just keep it going. And in the title, I think this is a good thing, all this hate. And the reason for that is I'm not the only one hearing all this. You're not the only one hearing all this. The Eagles are paying attention. The Eagles players have Twitter, and they listen to the media, and they're hearing all this as well. So now you don't have an 8-0 team that's just sitting with their feet up, thinking they're the shit. You have an 8-0 team that's now angry every game because they feel like they have something to prove every game. And for that, I want to thank all the haters, and I want to thank the national media for doing that as well. With that being said, guys, if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button. Every little bit counts. And with that being said, everybody, stay safe, stay healthy, go Birds, and I'll see you later.
E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles!
I need Eagle Nation to stand.